Everybody's here? Okay. Okay, this meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. An adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required by law. Certain portions of it may be closed to the public for the purpose of personnel and/or other matters as outlined in the Sunshine Law. Decisions made and/or discussed in closed session will be made known to the public at a later date. All contracts awarded by mayor and council must comply with the affirmative action requirements of PL 1975, C-127, and JAC 1727. Fire exits are located in the directions I am indicating. In case of fire, you will be notified by me via the public address system or yelling. If you are alerted for fire, please move in a calm, orderly manner to the nearest smoke-free exit or as directed by me over the public address system or yelling. Okay, we're here.
Councilwoman Story.
Here.
Councilman Kelly.
Here.
Councilman Minola.
Here.
Councilman Petrosky.
Here.
And Mayor Wilkinson.
Here.
That's 5 present.
Start, you got anything?
You might as well start.
All right, we're here to start discussing capital. First up is DPW. We're looking to go over a 5-year capital plan, start doing some more planning. So in your packet, if you turn to sheet number 1, I took their request list, summarized it my way. So it goes across from 2015 out to 2019 with a grand total of the request. For 2015, they're looking for a Mason dump truck and a pickup truck. In 2016, they're looking for a roll-off container truck. In 2017, they're looking for a Mason dump truck and a street sweeper. In 2018, they're looking for a tree truck. 2019, they're looking for a tree chipper and a stump grinder and a backhoe. Grand total of the 5-year request is $1,104,000. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mark Pasquale, DPW Superintendent, to give you a little more detail on the reasonings for the request for replacements or additions.
For 2015, the 3-yard Mason dump and the pickup truck that we're requesting is to replace the same 2 types of trucks that are 1999s, that's 16 years old. The pickup truck that we're replacing, the floorboards are rotted out, same as the Mason dump, the back 3-yard is also rotted out very bad. What was just passed around is a list of the DPW vehicles. What is highlighted in red, we are, the borough clerk was instructed to...
Got that many vehicles?
So many vehicles we have. Well, it's not all vehicles, it's the chipper and other stuff. The ones that are highlighted in red, we've asked the borough clerk to sell. They outlived their useful lifespan. On page 1, on the bottom is the 1999 Mason dump. The bed is rotted out. On page 2 is the 1999 Dodge pickup truck. Page 3 is a tractor of 1969 that's been sitting there for 2.5 years I have been there. The Jeep Cherokee, the front seat, the driver's seat has disconnected itself from the floor. There's really no use for that. And on the last page, there's a Toro Groundmaster. It's a lawn cutting machine. And in 2014, the borough was gracious enough to let us buy 2 new Toro products. So that no longer needs to be kept in the system. For 2016, we're asking for a container truck. The container truck would serve a lot of uses. On average, when they come and switch a container, bring an empty one for a full one, the cost is $150 per. What I did is go back from 2008 through 2014. We had a total of, let me wait till everybody gets. From 2008 through 2014, we had a grand total of 614 container switches. If you multiply that by $150 per, comes to $92,100, which you could save. In the middle of that, you have to take into consideration insurance, maintenance, fuel, and pay a worker to drive it. What was also included in this is, on average, we spent approximately $15,000 a year to get rid of leaves at the end of the year. So if you multiply that by the same amount of years, from 7 years, the town could save approximately $197,100. Other uses for the roll-off truck, during the winter months, when we have bad snowstorms, we could put a container at each end of the street to move snow. And this type of truck is built to handle the kind of weight that snow weighs, not the mason dumps that we have used it in the past. And during the other 9 months of the season, during tree cutting season, the container truck could be used to be loaded with the large, trees that are more than 3 feet in circumference. 2017, the $85,000 is for another 3-yard mason dump that will be approximately 15 years old at the time. And our street sweeper is currently 11 years old. It still works well, but the useful lifespan on street sweepers is 10 years. The 2018, the tree truck, that's the bucket truck that Mike Gaston goes up and cut the trees down. That is a 1995, so it will be 23 years old in 2018. 2019, the tree chipper and the stump grinders are that old also. The backhoe that we have is currently, I think it's currently 24 years old. Does anyone have any questions? The backhoe is a 90, so yeah, it's 24 years old. Yes,
Street sweeper.
yes.
I thought we were looking into possibly privatizing, because I know in the 6 years I've been here, the street sweeper, the cost, well, we had to change the DEP, whatever, environmental protection. You have to keep that waste separate now.
Yes.
And one time we used to be able to just, now we have to keep it because it's contaminated or whatever.
Well, we have a separate container.
Right, and I know that cost is going up to the
Yeah.
roof. I know that there's a lot of times that there's been a lot of downtime over the years, 2, 3, 4 months at a time, burrings, brushes, whatever. The cost factor of the $182,000, if we could look into, the privatizing,
Okay.
sit back and say, hey, we can eliminate the extra cost of the waste products to get out, the maintenance cost,
Okay.
the labor cost, and the machine, but if we can get whatever, I'm just saying, if it was,
I will call.
well, I'm just saying, because if we can, if this is $182,000 plus everything else, we can get 5, 6, 7 years for that kind of price. It doesn't, you know,
All right,
we're only gonna be keeping, you know, spending that kind of money.
I'll
So that's just my thought. I mean, again,
I'll
there's
get
other
some
people here.
prices from companies that do that,
Mhm.
if you like.
Because to me, it just alleviates a lot of problems. One, you get an extra man back in your labor force. Number two, we don't have to worry about downtime, maintenance, disposal, number two. And number three, as you know, even when a street sweeper don't go out, you know, the people get the summonses and they yell up and scream, you know, there's snow out there, you know, ba 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 ba. And now we come up with a set policy, a set date, a set this, that bingo, we know it's, you know, who, what, when, and where.
Well, something else you'll have to factor in with that is, right now, I believe the way we sweep the streets is 5 days a week, the way the town is set up. If you were to look into privatizing, you may also have to look into changing your scheduled times out there. And we all know how that change goes over. But that is a factor you're gonna have to look at, because if you're gonna look for a company to come in here 5 days a week, you know, it's,
I'm just
you know,
suggesting.
if you say the useful life without talking interest in it, it's $182,000, it's roughly $18,000 a year. So, you know, you're gonna, it's not a bad idea to look at the pricing for privatization. A few years ago, we kinda tried to look at it, and it was looking like it was gonna cost us more than save us.
Well, again,
But it's just, you know,
I'm trying to bring
I-
Councilman Kelly's thoughts to the table.
I'm trying to just help you look at everything full circle. Yes, we should go out and look for prices now, but, you know, you have to take everything into consideration. So, that's,
I will get prices, once I get them, I will email them to everyone, so you can look at it.
and remember, that, you know, what we're trying to do is set a plan in place.
Well, let me just ask you another stupid question.
No questions.
Well,
Well, maybe that one.
all right, what would happen, the trucks that you're explaining, the Mason dump, that the box rotted out?
Yes.
Now, what would happen if we were just to say, go out and spend a couple $100 and some diamond plate, weld it up to try to get another year and switch these two around to get the roll-offs because it seems like the roll-offs are gonna save us a lot more money.
The roll-offs were under contract till, I believe, March or April of 16, that's why we put it
Okay.
in for 16.
That answered that question. Okay, I didn't realize that we were on the contract, but, okay.
When the
Just
trucks-
make sure you notify us that contracts are null and void, or ending, that,
Okay.
please,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
When the sweeper truck is down, do you send it out to get fixed, or does the guy do it in-house?
No, he does it in-house.
In-house,
Yeah.
good, okay.
The sweeper truck, if you were to get a new one, would you then have like a maintenance contract with it that would
Well,
cover
the
X
new-
amount of years?
The new one that I would get is Tamco, it's made in Waco, Texas.
No, I'm saying,
But it's an air regenerative sweeper. It works sort of like a vacuum. There's a lot less moving parts. It's not from the cab back, you don't have to grease anything. The most important thing for this type of sweeper is they wash out the hopper thoroughly every day, which is made out of aluminum, not out of metal. Rivervale, New Jersey had a Tamco sweeper for 20 years it lasted. And after they bought a new one, they changed the old one into a flatbed truck because it had an international front. That's the type I would be looking into.
Let's just state for the record, we will not pick a specific one when we go out
No,
to bid
it's
unless
an
we
a-
can find it under state contract, that we follow the local public contracts law,
but
equal to or better than.
Yes.
basically my question was in not so much buying it, but you know, like 10 years or 100,000 miles type of, does it come with any kind of warranty or extended warranty? Or it says you just buy it and just pay as you go?
That I don't have an answer for.
Never
but I'll
depends
get it.
on what we actually ended up
But
with.
that kind of money, and what do you do with the old one?
The old one you try to sell, or sometimes companies who pave roads buy the older ones, because all they do is pick up gravel with them before they pave. But
we would either look to get a trade-in value on it, or we have to auction off our stuff. We would list it, we'll go through one of our auctions to sell.
Before we do that also, can we also look into a price what it would cost us to scrap it? If the guy's gonna come in at auction and give us $300, I'd rather put on a flatbed, haul it over to Riverside and get $1,000 for it, because the price of scrap metal's going up to the roof.
But, Sinelli and Secaucus, I believe, pays $250 a ton for number one steel, which that would be.
I'm just saying, before we go out to auction, I like to,
We would look at all.
in other words, if you can come, in other words, if, there's gotta be a GVW, right, the vehicle weight? If you can come up with a vehicle weight and call up this guy and say, look, man, I got this, what would be the price of scrap? And if it would be like, say, 1,500, then we know to at least go out to auction,
Right.
minimum 1,500,
Right.
starting bid. Cause I don't want, I'm just saying, if we can get 1,200 for scrap and we're gonna auction it off for 400 or 500, I'll send it to the scrapyard.
Put Q plates on it and park it.
Yeah. Well, we had one we bought under many years ago, former Mayor McKinney. We bought one, and I think we had it, about 8 months, and it caught fire. The old Blue International
This,
that we bought. Yeah.
this 89 International, the dump. is
That does not run, Eugene.
It doesn't run.
No.
That's,
That I should look into scrapping too, because that's a big heavy truck.
that's in the red one.
Yes, anything that's in the red, Doreen was instructed to auction off.
Since you work on trucks, maybe you wanna go down and fix
Well,
it.
I don't know if she advertised the auction yet or
Well, I
not.
don't know either.
What would you
Right.
find?
No,
Find out about,
no, because we just offered, the
Right.
last meeting was we auctioned off the police vehicle, so there's nothing coming up.
just find out how much scrap prices are, so that she advertises, we can send them in one day.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, but it only has 52,000 miles on it, it's like, not even broken in.
52,000 miles in a mile square town is an awful lot, and that's not counting idling time.
The Mason dump is from '99, 63,000 miles, that's 4,000 miles a year.
Wow.
Couple questions, Mark.
Sure.
Just correct me if I'm wrong. So right now, as far as the roll-off, we're currently under contract till, you said 2016, correct? Okay. So idea is, instead of contracting it out, bring it in-house, and that's what we save, right?
Yes.
I like the concept behind it, and I'm not saying as far as, so that I think is a good idea, and obviously it's in our advantage that we have, a year's time before that contract's up, where we can, maybe even think of more savings that'll come along with this. Now, I'm not saying the pickup truck, the pickup truck or the 3R Mason dump truck, they could break down tomorrow, or they could last another X amount of years. I mean,
The Mason dump has been under a lot of repairs.
right.
Because of the salt over the 15 years, a lot of stuff underneath is rotted out. And the pickup truck, it's almost like a Fred Flintstone.
Right, and again, you obviously have a better pulse on it, but I guess what I'm getting at is, since we have the advantage of 2016 potentially investing in this roll-off, and getting some type of cost savings out of it and a return on investment for X amount of years, is there any way, and not just for the sake of not spending money this year, but just for the sake of, hey, we'll be investing money that's gonna save money, could the dump truck and the pickup truck last another year? I mean, I think that's a question.
These two.
So you're talking about, just to
Wait till we
try
start
to
seeing a
clarify.
return on investment on the roll-off before another Mason dump truck and pickup truck. Since we will be seeing savings to the borough in a multitude of ways from the roll-off.
Can I go back to the question? We're on the contract for the 2016?
I believe it's April. if I remember.
So,
Well, what you
what
have to
what
factor
would
in
happen,
then
what
you.
would happen with the bid process in the capital budget that, if this thing ends in April, right? What are we gonna do for that capital, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that, what would happen, I'm looking at the time frame.
Right, more than likely, you would probably wanna switch the roll-off with the, mason dump and pickup because of timing factors, because, like, we're discussing capital now. Once we finalize capital, normally we introduce anywhere from May to June. Takes 2 meetings to get through. And then we have the estoppel period after it's adopted. So you might not be able to order the truck till August, September in 16. And if I remember correctly, and we'll look that up in the morning, and I did just look it up the other day, but it slipped me, but I think it's July of 16 that 4 of the roll-offs expire, and 1 of them expires this year that we did a 1-year deal with the wood that we had to go back out for. So the wood expires this year, we'll go for another 1-year wood probably.
Yeah, if we were to get the roll-off truck in 16, the only container that would cause a problem from between April and when we would be able to get delivery would be the garbage container.
Yeah, but what you're not understanding is, what I'm saying is, when we introduce an ordinance,
You're not gonna see this
we're not gonna
roll-off
have,
truck till
we're not,
almost
you know, even if we set this 5-year plan in place now, we still discuss capital because this is trying to set up a plan,
Oh, yeah.
but we could have something drastic change and, hey, this has to move and now we gotta get this instead.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, right? By the time capital gets done, it'll probably be August, September.
Right, that's right.
By the time it goes out to bid for the truck, we're talking September, October. By the time we order the truck, by the time the truck is built, we're already into 2016.
The truck you could get through a co-op, you wouldn't have to go out to bid.
Some guys wanna build, you know, on the garbage truck, the former DPW superintendent put specs on it. So this is what I'm trying to say, that if that's the case, you know,
Maybe
I'd like to
switch.
see,
Timing wise, yes.
Timing-wise,
The-
I
if
think-
you're-
I think we
If
need
you're gonna
to
consider
switch
the
it.
roll-off truck, you might wanna reverse it.
because
Do the
now,
roll-off truck this year.
now you're into
Because by the time you
2016,
get it,
now you're talking, here we are, March of 2016, talking capital budget, you're not gonna see that truck until possibly the end of 2016 or maybe beginning of 17.
Okay.
So meanwhile, I don't think our
The earliest
roll-off
would be
company's gonna give us a
September
month-to-month.
The Mason dump possibly could last another year, that Dodge pickup, that's kaput.
That's the green one, right?
Yeah, that's, no.
99?
You drive that truck, you get
I-
smoke, you get fumes from the engine,
Yeah.
and all sorts of lights are on, and
I don't know, folks, I'm just thinking that the cost savings, I think this should be swapped. But that's just me.
Now, this container is talking a 30-yard or a 40-yard, or?
some are 20, some are 30, we would probably have 140-yard container to take leaves away, because they're light.
How many containers we presently have?
We have 5.
And we got room for 5.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
then we would own them,
Yes,
just one, right?
one what?
One container, we own, or we'll own all
No,
5.
we would still have 5 containers, we would purchase 5 containers, and one would be for wood, one for metal, one for scrap, and one for garbage.
And the container would cost would then,
The container costs are included in that price, 210. That's the truck with the containers.
then, are we responsible for, runoff, or do they have to be covered? They got slide covers on them, or they're just open on top?
No, they would be
No,
open.
you have to mandate it. It's mandated, has to have a cover and has to have a chain on the box. once you move it.
That would be our problem then.
It comes with the truck.
But
And as far as-
presently, they don't, right? They're
No,
open.
they have to, the carting company, that's
No,
the
the
carting.
carting company. I think you guys are talking about 2 different things. I think the mayor's talking about when they put it on the truck and move
They
it.
put it on the truck and they have the big aluminum arm that brings the
No,
cover over.
I know that, but I'm
Right.
saying when it sits there in the yard, it's open, it's just open,
They're open now, yes.
and water goes in them, and
Yes.
that's it. Then if they're ours, then we are responsible for making sure that the water don't go in them, and we have to buy additional covers that goes over it all the time. You're gonna find that out later,
Okay,
once you
I'll
buy
look
it.
into that.
No, because once you pick the container up, the water's gonna roll out.
That's right.
So what he's saying is,
The environmental
EPA
issues.
might have a restriction that you can't have an open container.
Right now, that's not our issue.
I
it's
haven't
the
seen it.
Container companies.
Well, let's make sure.
Also, I've been in contact with the DEP for the municipality to get a license for a roll-up truck takes a couple weeks versus a private individual because it's a municipality. It'll take a long time to get the proper documentation and number for the truck in the DEP.
I'm just, look, you're the boss.
No,
I'm just
you made-
thinking the
you made a good
timeframe
point.
that we have to switch.
I just-
If I stand corrected.
I just don't wanna find out later on that this is an additional thing that we didn't even think about, didn't ask about,
Well, I'll
didn't
look
know
into
about.
it. Okay.
Do they have to be, if we buy them, it's our problem, now we have to get covers for them from the beginning. Not a soft cover, but a hard cover. It's gonna be a hard metal cover that has to go over that, rolls back and forth, from water can't go in there from the
Well,
beginning.
let's check
Where
on
have you
that.
seen this up?
Anywhere in the business.
Never.
Well, let's check.
Come on
I deal-
over
I
and
deal-
see.
I deal with 20 roll-offs a day in my plant, and none of them are covered. Because you gotta constantly load them, as fast as they're loaded, they're carted away. I've never seen it covered.
Well, it doesn't hurt to ask and check on that. Okay.
So should we, switch 15 and 16 because the length of time it's gonna take to get the truck? This way, we would have the container truck,
You want them?
in place when the contracts expire.
Let me just give you my 2 cents.
Sure.
I feel that if you can spend a couple $100, go get some sheet metal, tack weld, the bed, that you can get it through another year, fine.
Okay.
You know, I just think the time frame of the ordering of by the time the budget gets approved, by the time it gets done, by the time it's advertised, by the time we gotta go to the bond person, and by the time you go out for specs, I think we're cutting it close. Where if we get the truck January, February, we only got 2 or 3 months before, you know.
But this truck don't run now. Don't run.
No,
This truck don't
the
run.
Dodge pickup is kaput, the Mason
Dodge
dump
pickup
still
truck,
runs.
then just get how much it weighs, get the scrap price, get a
Okay.
minimum price, and if that's the case, we'll put that, whatever that price is, we'll throw it towards the truck.
Okay.
Or offset the cost of the metal that we'll use to fix, the Mason dump.
Okay.
I just think it'll outweigh itself, and meanwhile, we got this to go what you're thinking, that we'll start to see the investment within
Mhm.
2 to 3 years. Basically, the truck will pay for itself. So, that's just my opinion.
Well, in this economy, I think, where everybody's struggling, I know you have to buy vehicles, and buying roll-offs, well, you look into that, and
Well, we might be better off right now going for the more money, right, because almost certainly interest rates are gonna start to climb. Anytime, I mean, everything from what the
That was
Fed
the fire
is,
truck.
everything from what the
We
Fed
waited,
is
we waited an extra
saying.
year, and we could've got it for a little bit, the year that I was on with the former mayor, Joe D'Iorio, we looked at it, and we said no, and we put it off another year, and we should have bought it the year before, because the interest rates would've
Yeah.
saved us.
Well, yeah, what the Fed is saying, and taking up the word constantly, there we are, they're almost certainly going to climb.
this, the stump grinder is really old too, you said?
Yes.
But it's presently working,
Oh,
right?
they both work, the chipper and the stump grinder. They worked well. It's just the years.
So we can get a little more time out of them at
Yes.
least.
Yes.
Okay.
Ken, or
Yes.
whoever could answer, what would be the time overlap if we did switch it and now we're going through the process of getting the roll-off and you obviously are still under contract until April 2016, correct?
So, yeah,
Was- how many months would the overlap be estimated, you think, of having that extra roll off?
3-4 months by the time we get the truck at the
Yeah.
end of the year.
I mean, you figure the earliest we'll order it is probably September, depending on the availability. You have it in November, December. So you're talking 4 to 6 months possibly.
And it's not saying if we get it in that
Also-
time, now we can use it for the snow removal. I mean, because we're still in the contract for the concrete, the wood, and the garbage.
Right, but
Nothing
there's,
says that we can't use it.
just remember though, there's
Right.
nothing in the contract that says we're gonna give them X amount of containers. If we get our own, and we have it, we can fill our containers, ship them out, the other containers just sit there empty.
Okay,
You know what I mean? So it wouldn't be like you're double, I understand your point.
Right.
You wouldn't be double paying, we just wouldn't fill
So in other words,
contractors.
well, I just didn't wanna waste 3 or
we
4 months.
fill our
of not
two
getting-
and we give him one.
Right, okay. I just didn't want 3 months of not seeing any return on it,
Right.
then we might as well go 3 months afterwards, but that's not the case. 'Cause-
No, we can, no, it's like you said,
Right.
there is no set amount that we have.
Okay,
The only thing that we would have is if by chance we get hit with another storm, that we're loading up the the wood into the one container, correct me if I'm wrong, we gotta wait for them to haul it out, meanwhile, we're piling it up on the thing, where now we can use our own.
right.
So, it'll constantly, depending on how it goes,
You're not touching it twice.
we're not touching it twice, that's the name of the game, one thing I hate, touching something twice. So,
Okay, so I'm getting the vibe, we're gonna switch 16 and 15.
yeah. Guys gotta go?
No, we gotta approve. You know.
Anything else, questioning on the equipment end of it for DPW for now? I mean, obviously, the 5-year plan is a plan.
Right.
It doesn't mean we're locked into buying this
Things change.
all 5 years, okay? So it's, the most important year is the first year, because that's what we're locking into. The rest of it, we're just trying to establish a plan, but things do change, so. But it's just to try and get an idea, so.
Tree chipper could break tonight.
Bite your tongue. Then you better win the lottery. But yes, something like that can happen, so. So if we're okay there for now, we're gonna look at, sheet 4, which is some areas of buildings and grounds. Buildings and grounds, we've had, we usually do improvements to buildings and grounds every so many years to give us a catch-all if we need to do a major repair. The heating systems or air conditioning systems, if we had to replace a major section of roof where we can't absorb that type of cost in the operating budget, this gives us an area of reserve to be able to fix something that we need. So, we're talking about also, it was brought up by the mayor, to get defibrillators, 'cause I believe the ones we have in some of the buildings are out of date. This would be an area that can fall in under that category. Right now, we're looking, just as a projection, to do 50,015, 50,017, 50,019. Now, the future years, we may not need, depending on the 50,000 we do. If we do 50,000 this year, that might last us all 5 years, hopefully. But, like I said, it's kind of an area to, like we do on the sewer end of it, we set aside money in the capital for sewer, so when we have an emergency repair, we don't have to do an emergency and automatically hit the budget in future years. We have that capital money to go and repair that sewer line, and we have to get it repaired instantly. So.
This isn't accounted for anything yet, right? So in other words, then it's just there as
It's there as a reserve that we
cushion,
have.
as a cushion, right. All right, because I'm just thinking, because I know we said we're getting the library a sprinkler system.
Well, that
and
we're gonna get to
giving-
next.
And we're gonna do the
The
fire
next-
system here.
The next line, the fire system here, we already have set up a contract.
Okay.
We awarded at the end of last year. We actually moved that into the operating budget when we found some additional areas. And as far as I know, it's in the building department waiting for the permit so they can start to work, so. Getting back to the library grounds, we did set aside some money last year, and roughly 10,000. Mark spoke to the landscape contractor last year with some vague ideas. The money we had set aside, not gonna go as far as we wanted it to. So, I don't know if you wanna touch base on some of the options or things that were talked about with that, and,
Yeah, I think it was a pin oak that we took down, that big tree.
Like the library?
Yeah,
Tulip.
tulip. The tree right next to it is in the tree management plan being slated to be taken down as per the arborist who did the survey. There's also a tree on the corner of Clay and Chestnut that's slated to come down as per the arborist,
On Clay near Chestnut.
on the northwest corner of Clay and Chestnut.
Is it ours or the county's?
I think it's a county tree.
Well, then, I'll have to talk to them.
There's two other trees. If you come out of the library front door and make a right and go towards Clay, between that sidewalk and the driveway in the back, there's two trees. Those trees are fine. My feeling for those two trees is that we might think of taking them down, because if we're gonna spend all this money for a sprinkler system and sod, those two trees are big. In 3 or 4 years, the roots are gonna grow, it's gonna strangle the sod and the sprinkler system. That's something that can be discussed later. In the front, we're gonna need sod, sprinklers, topsoil. There should be some planting areas, I feel, to dress it up, to give it a little color. Where the ramp starts, on the right side of the library, if you're looking at the library from the front, maybe a picnic table area there so people could sit outside in the nicer weather. And if anybody has any other thoughts, what they would like that to look at, suggestions are welcome.
just low maintenance, so.
Picnic tables.
No? Okay.
You see, I see it, the kids from the middle school use that sometimes as a playground. I think picnic tables would only cause more problems, AKA trash and everything else, and people hanging around. You know what I'd like to see? I would like to see that whole area like redone as far as, like you said, the planting, some plum trees,
Okay.
some dogwoods. Something that's gonna be nice and not take it, but enough that, you get some shade, some nice 30-foot dogwoods, forget the pears, but get some nice plum trees, and just make it into a nice area, like almost like, Acker Park in a way, with nice greenery and a little walk path or something, so.
I think one park bench would be nice, I'm not saying a
No,
table.
park bench would be fine.
A nice park bench would be
Picnic
nice
tables,
there.
I
Well,
think
I
picnic
understand,
tables,
I
you're only
understand the
asking
whole
for
picnic
trouble.
table thing, I understand that, because it would get crazy. But a park bench, that library, I don't know if any realize what an integral part of this community that library is.
It's a humongous
It
part
really
of
is.
this library.
It's, I mean,
the
whatever you can do
library
to keep
is-
it going and keep it nice. They do everything from the toddlers to the seniors to the, after Sandy.
And
that
we're doing the
was-
school children now.
And, well, yeah, because they have tutoring in there too, for math, for science,
Mhm.
and it's free for a lot of people. And after Sandy, that was the place people went. I mean, you saw your community, they had charging stations. The library staff themselves baked stuff at home and brought it in for people that didn't have, working gas and electric in their homes. It's anything you can do to keep that place nice and keep it going.
Yeah.
I'm all for it, it's an integral part of this community, it really is.
We
So you're
have-
donating your First Aid Squad capital money?
You know how much? I donate over 1,000 hours a year.
I'm only teasing.
But,
I do.
we have a picnic table there now, we have the one,
It was
I don't think
destroyed.
it's causing too much of a
In
problem.
the front?
No, I don't think it's there anymore.
No.
It was
So
broken.
back to it.
It was destroyed.
When?
I don't know when. It was,
Not that long
I
ago.
don't remember a picnic table in the
Yeah,
front.
the one that the Boy Scouts.
the boy, yeah, the Eagle Scout did, right? Yeah, he made a picnic
I
table.
haven't looked at it much because of the snow.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean,
But
I can't.
whatever, I understand that the point about.
I don't know if it was ever
about
taken,
the,
I haven't been by in a while,
I
but it was.
understand the point about it being used as a playground, but I think that that's something we have to address too, because.
That's why I
My
think with the
opinion, that is not a
momentum of certain
playground.
trees
It
in
shouldn't be a
different
playground.
locations,
Okay.
you know, the dogwoods, the plums and so forth and so on, possibly planted in a way.
That it will
That it will-
discourage.
Yeah, I
people
saw a
from
couple good
running
football
wild.
games there.
Yeah.
Can
well,
we
that's-
get, like, one of the nurseries, if you send them a couple pictures, Mark, if they give you like one of those free designs type of thing? Just as some ideas, I don't know, or if you have your
Good
own.
idea. But the first step, we have to have the sprinklers, right, before we.
Oh, yeah.
Before we.
Well, we
even
gotta
think about
take everything
anything
out. Whatever those
But
trees are.
to do the sprinklers, you need to have the plan of what you're gonna do.
else. Yeah, no,
because
I understand
The
that.
grass ones is a different type of head sprinkler as opposed to a planting area.
If you're gonna
things like
have
that.
an area to sit down, like a couple of park benches, just flat park benches, nothing elaborate, you know, that wouldn't be so bad, maybe 3 or 4, or maybe, picnic tables, then that area should not have any grass at all, maybe just,
Like, you're gonna have mud all over the place then.
Then we have to have some sort of brick or pavers or something, because you, yeah, you just can't
You
have
just,
mud.
you just need, like, you wanna load it up, because you will have, that will be the new
You're
big
taking
hangout
away
in
from
front.
it, you're taking away from
Yeah.
the front.
You don't want
You
to
want
get
inside
to
the
that
library
point.
sitting down.
You're right.
Well, they are.
Right, I want them on
I
the
mean,
inside,
you
not
have
on the
you have a
outside.
couple benches would be great. You start putting tables and stuff, I don't know how well, because what as it is, people want it. I mean, I know we've gone, even, I did, when my son's my older one's 19 now. And I remember as a kid, taking him over there, they let us throw a blanket down, we had a little picnic in front of the library, and after we'd in for story time, and it's,
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
you know, so.
Okay, so you were saying that the 10,000 was not
The
realistic.
10,000's not realistic, I mean,
I'll-
most of that's gonna be absorbed with a sprinkler system.
I'll contact the nursery, see if I can get a free design at an approximate cost.
do you have anybody in mind, or any local person in mind?
Do you have somebody?
No, that's all.
Okay.
I mean, I don't,
Let me make a phone call to help you.
Okay,
We used to have a gentleman in town, former Mayor Helen Ryan's son,
okay,
was big into the parks for the county designer. Let me give him a call.
great, thank you.
Our sidewalk program, we currently have, money encumbered, we used some of it last year, the bid was still good, so that PO is set. So once we have the list, now that the weather's starting to break.
We don't have as much as
We don't
last
have as
year,
much.
so what you have encumbered will cover this year, yes.
But then looking into 16, setting aside, normally we set aside about 50,000 for sidewalks. So as part of the plan in 16 and then again in 18. But once again, this money doesn't expire, so if we have the money in 16 and we don't need to use it, we don't need to do it again in 18, we can maybe push it to 19, but just as part of our plan.
Well, hopefully if we start putting in smaller trees relatively, that will also help.
Can you
because
please
it
look
will
at the
be-
root guards? Root guards, you know, they're the box that you plant, the tree, the roots will come, when it hits it, it'll go down instead of going out. I've seen a few towns that do that. It might be a couple bucks more, but I think it's worth it in the long run. That we pay $100 now for a root box, in 5 years, we're gonna have to pay $500 for sidewalks.
Okay.
And then, trees, we have money set aside, we were gonna do, in spring, I believe we're gonna do some,
Yes.
stuff. But then looking into 16 and 18 again, to replenish our trees, set aside 20,000.
Smaller trees, I got a list from Micah Stone, who works at the DPW, he's an arborist. And his list coincided, was extremely similar to the list supplied by John Linson, who did the tree management plan for Roselle Park.
Yeah, I read that.
And like you said, these are trees that'll grow 20, 30 feet, not 70, 80, 90 feet. Because those big trees, they overgrow the green belt and there's not enough dirt there to handle the root system.
Any way we could get the trees planted now? How many usually trees you plant a year?
Last year, we didn't plant any.
Yeah, we need,
We need
there are people who,
We need 'em.
we really need.
Well, that's a good point, let's go back to that topic.
Yeah.
One thing we discussed last year, and we need to get a final answer, maybe through the committee, then to the full council, is we were tossing around the idea last year, are we just gonna plant trees, or we're gonna wanna plant them? Or, because, not to blame anybody, but sometimes trees were planted and then the next day you got a phone call, that tree's gotta be moved. So, are you gonna give the homeowner the option, or we're not? And we need to make that decision, and make it a final decision, because we can't plant a tree, then unplant it to replant it, because then the tree's just gonna die on us. So, that's one
It's a
thing.
waste of time and.
Whether you guys wanna make that decision right here or now, you wanna discuss it in committee, then bring it back to the council, but that's one of the reasons why this got a little bit delayed further out.
But if you have a general area that you wanna plant the tree, could be in front of this house, or this house.
Right, and it's gonna be in front of your house, and you're gonna say, hey,
Well,
put it in front of either one of my neighbors, that'll be a
Well,
perfect spot.
if
And they're gonna
she-
say,
if
hey, put it in front of either one of my
if she
neighbors.
wants it and I don't, and he does, there you go.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
but
not
now what
usually that
happens is,
simple.
all three don't want it. You know what I'm saying? So this is the problem
We have to have
that
an
we have
overall
to, and we
policy.
have to have a policy, and we have to stick to that policy and enforce that policy. So, that's one thing I think
Why don't
needs
we
to
do
be
it?
discussed in committee, then brought
Why
back
don't
to
we do it,
council.
why don't we do it, why don't we do it, whoever wants the trees, get the list and we plant them. Who wants, I know my neighbor across the street wants 2 of them on her property.
Oh, I can give you
Alright.
several names right now.
Well, I'm just saying, if that's the
People would
case,
yell at me every time they see
we'll,
me.
we'll put it out there, we'll put it out there. Because guess what, as of.
But remember, these don't go
2000
on the homeowner's property, they
No,
go
no,
on.
Of course
our
not,
property.
of course
Right,
not.
well, I'm just
What I'm
making
trying to
sure.
say is that if that's the case, we can come up with, say something, as of 2018, whatever tree comes down on borough property, it will be replaced on borough property. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Don't plant the tree near a catch basin, like right on top of it, because I see that everywhere. I mean, I can see it in the catch basin.
I think right now, go with the people that want the trees.
All right,
Get
if you
them
could
planted.
email me addresses and names, possibly
Yeah,
phone
I
numbers.
have, but I'll send them again.
Okay,
Cause I know you guys had a list, but it wasn't even that big, so.
I think it was about 15 trees,
Yeah, but the
15 to
people
20.
who want them.
Okay.
Alright, so those people then, you know that definitely want them, forward it to.
Yeah.
When you say they want them, do they want any kind of tree or a specific
No,
kind
yeah.
of tree?
People just
Homeowners
say,
may not-
Because
I
people say,
want a
I
tree.
hate that tree, I don't like that kind of
People are
tree.
just telling me, I want a tree there in front of my house, I want 2 trees.
They'll get the
you
tree
give me
with
2
our
trees.
arborist
The
in
arborist
our-
will pick
in our
the
plan.
tree, that's
Yes.
the only person that will pick it.
Now,
That's
if-
they haven't put a sidewalk down and had it get popped up the next year by the tree that was put in, like,
So,
That's why you
Nice
use
ways
root
to
that's
cards.
why we're going for the, you know.
So
That's
we'll
why
get-
you use the root cards, that's why you do the planning, that's why you.
I didn't have a say in the matter, so I'm not wasting money to redo this out again,
So,
I just say it like that.
yeah.
Alright, so we'll get those done
Insurance company will change.
ASAP, and then work on the
I'm
other
not paying for it again.
plan, okay?
Insurance company will change.
Everybody alright with that?
Just say it.
Does the, Mark, you know if the county, years ago I thought they donated some trees.
We'll contact them.
I know we also got, I think they donated for Arbor Day, I think we got a tree donated from them.
And I got a thing in the other
But
day,
usually what we try to do is,
there's a company that donated 1,000 saplings. What can they do with 1,000 saplings?
No, I know years ago I thought they did.
well, they usually go out to the bid and open it up countywide, and then you
Right.
can do it, and then that winning company plants the tree, maintains it for the first year, so.
Didn't you have one that went in space first?
Yes, it's in the library.
So there's, that's right,
Yeah, make sure that tree, whenever plan you have, that tree stays.
And lives.
Yeah,
That was up on
we
the
have a
shuttle,
couple
it
of
came back.
small,
planted outside.
Paul
memorial.
Endler's tree.
We do have a few small memorial trees that would be nice
Yeah,
if we
you
could
got
keep.
Paul Endler's tree, and you got,
I think, are they all labeled with a rock or not?
Yes.
Yeah, they're all, yeah, you got Paul Endler and you got,
After the snow, I don't know the rocks.
who was that guy? Oh, Lear.
Bob Lear.
Bob Lear.
So make sure those trees stay in the plan.
I got it, I just wrote it down.
Okay, so
Alright,
that
yeah.
is,
Just ask one more
Sorry.
question, sorry. What, for the estimated price on the pickup truck, 42,000, what kind of truck is
It's
that?
a Ford F-350.
Okay. I'm just looking back to,
That would be with the plow.
Gas or diesel?
Yes.
Okay. You ever considered diesel? I mean,
Get more money.
they're not the cheaper to run, and maintenance wise.
Yeah, but, yeah, diesel fuel's more expensive though, compared to gasoline. You're talking 205 for a gallon of gas and 265 for a gallon of diesel,
I know, but
so,
maintenance,
You can't win.
and you gotta plug them in over the winter. That was another headache.
don't know, Greek to me.
You know that was down there, unless you run through the garage and leave the garage doors open. Then you get the vermin in there and the cats in there.
It's not very bad.
I'm just saying, I've been around a long time.
as long as they're registered, I don't care.
Is that it?
Okay, so does anybody
Any
have
other
any?
questions?
Now, Mark's gonna meet with Tom and they're gonna review, the street list and some other,
Yeah.
projects, so, that'll come in under a separate.
This 69 tractor, did you contact anybody
We put that in the museum?
from Ford? They might wanna buy
You
it.
find us a museum big enough to put it in and we'll accept it.
You know, it's a classic thing, you know, they might want, some of
You want? I don't know if it's that much of
Well, for anything that you're giving to the clerk, find out
a, okay,
how much it is to scrap,
I'll get
try and get a rough idea of like a blue book value on some of these things, and we'll
Yeah,
put
I'm
in
just saying,
minimum,
I mean,
put in
I mean, the
minimum bids
tractor-
if we have to, you know, it's.
You know, if it's 1,000 pounds times X amount of weight, you know, because nobody's gonna come in unless somebody really wants to do it for, like you said, like an antique.
Mhm.
But if I can get more for scrap than I can at an auction, I'll scrap them.
So, we'll just work that in, when she advertises, it'll be a minimum bid, so,
Okay.
all right?
Yep.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else have any questions?
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got enough salt for the snowstorm on Friday?
Pray for no snow,
We
Friday.
got plenty of salt.
3 to 6.
3 to 6?
Yeah, it's gonna be 52 degrees on Saturday.
Depending on who you ask, what radio station you get.
Yeah, every station has a different
1 to
amount.
3, 2 to 4, that's the job to have. Weatherman.
Yeah, look out your window and then report.
50% chance of snow, 50% chance.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, first aid squad, thank you. Sorry I couldn't give you a different time frame because it could have been 5 minutes, could be 5 hours.
All right, how many Band-Aids you need?
All right, so first aid squad handed in their 5-year plan. I'm gonna go through it quickly and then they'll give you the detail. That's on sheet 6. 2015 request is for radios for 6,500. 2016 request is chairs, floor mats, vertical air compressor, retractable reel hose, and proxy floor sealing for $7,915. 2017 is purchase of a new ambulance of $200,000. 2018 is metal steel carport and inflatable rehab shelter for a total of $7,420. 2019 is a request for an ambulance for $220. Grand total of the 5-year plan is $441,835. I'm just gonna start off with a couple of small things in 16. They're probably not gonna be allowed through capital, we'll have to work them into your operating budget. Okay?
'Cause I don't think rubber floor mats has a tendency about 5 years. No.
So the three, you know, the 600, the 357, and the 180, when you do your budget request for 16, earmark that there, and you'll have to work that in that way. Okay? Or if you have a good budget year this year, and at the end of the year, we can start to get it, we can start working some of that in. Okay?
You have a vertical air compressor now?
Yeah, we have one now, but
And we
it's,
keep trying to
it's
fix.
12 years
We've been
old, and
fixing
it's been
it
breaking
for
down
years.
continuously. So
Constantly.
we're into the second, we're actually, we rebuilt it the first time, and it lasted for another couple more years, and now it's broken down again, and now we're in the process of taking parts, buying parts again to keep the cost down, but it's wearing down. It pulls all the exhaust out. It's from Plumbervet. And what it does is when you start up the ambulances, it pulls, the exhaust, it pulls it right through the tubes, and it goes out.
A monoxy system.
Well, yeah, yeah,
The monoxy system itself,
yeah.
is better than,
No, this works, the majority of most of the towns, fire and shoot total. Yeah, yeah, the system, essentially just keeps breaking down on, you know, and then we've been trying to,
So let me ask you, not to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but should that be something moved forward now?
Yes.
I mean, if this is broken down, I don't see how we
I
can wait
mean,
another
and
year.
getting it fixed is our people, giving up
Our-
more volunteer time.
they're giving their
On top of
time.
riding the ambulance at least 70,000 hours
right.
a year. And now giving up their time to come in and fix this thing.
Yeah.
On a day off
That's
or
what
while they're,
we're
you know,
doing, we're trying,
as usual.
we're fortunate that we have somebody that he knows a little bit about motors, and he can take these things apart and rebuild the whole thing again, but this is again, 2 years down the road, it happened again, and,
I mean, this is a very important thing.
that's,
It's exhaust.
chairs.
the chairs for the building, as far as I can, and I went back and I asked a lot of people, these chairs have to be at least 35 years old. They're worn, I mean, they're worn out. They're just worn out chairs, they really are. You know, I mean, we have, you know, we're holding, aside from our own training, we're also doing CPR training for residents and the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, and all these things that we go on. And these chairs are just worn out, and you know, we're repairing chairs as we go along. That's another thing we keep repairing too. We have to keep repairing, because they have the wood side arms, and so it breaks, you gotta repair that, you gotta, you know, all these little things, just, it was never purchased, you know, so I would say the chairs have to be at least 30 to 35, I'm thinking at least 30 years, but probably even more than that, could be about 35 years since they got chairs. The vertical mats that we're asking for are similar to the mats that are used in like the high school, that when they do their wrestling. The reason behind that is that all we have is old carpeting that must be about, I'm guessing it's gotta be at least 10 years, maybe 12 years.
Yeah.
At least 12 years. And it was carpeting that we had put down in our squad room and in the bunk room. And they had leftover. And what happened was that they just rolled up whatever was left, and they used that to roll out when we do CPR.
Training.
The training, you're on this,
Oh.
you know, and we try to keep it clean, but it's worn out, it's shot, and the rubber mat
We
would be
use
a lot
everything
easier.
To the max in many uses. We don't just go buy stuff.
Right.
Whatever we have, we find another use for it. But
Right.
it's getting to the point, it's kind of disgusting. You're going down, you're putting the rugs down, there's like dust coming out of it, even with back, because they're deteriorating.
Let me ask you a question. I know I've seen them at Home Depot, and I know other places sell them now. They have the floor tiles that interlock, that you can see for like home gyms and things like that. Is that something that can work?
Can it be
I don't know how
rolled?
big it-
I don't know if it can be rolled.
No, it just stays flat. It just,
No, we have to roll it up.
Because we have to
roll it
use
up.
the space.
We gotta use the space.
okay.
For other
So
stuff.
Never mind.
we only have the one meeting room.
Never mind.
And it's all one, and that's the reason.
You said similar to the wrestling mats?
What, like wrestling mats, in other words, it would be, not that large of a proportion, but big enough that we can accommodate, at least if you're gonna do CPR, you can set up, yeah, thick enough so that it goes on the, you know, when you lay it
You're not
down,
killing your knees all
you're
the
not
way.
killing your knees and you're doing CPR and stuff like that, yeah.
And you got room for it?
Yeah, we have the room for, I have the rolled up carpet in the closet, you know, that's where we keep a lot of stuff.
You know, a closet for all our training.
All our training, you know, are recessed to Annie's and everything else, but the carpets are worn. You know, a lot of the requests that we're asking for, and the reason I put this request in for 2016 was because the building does, I guess over the number of years when they had approached the borough, it wasn't really focusing on any type of internal things that were needed, chairs or carpeting or mats or anything. Now, we're at that point. I mean, some of the stuff, you know, 15, 20 years, everything's worn out. It's like, you know, the chairs, believe it or not, are worn. I mean, it's really down to like little cloth material on some of the chairs.
How old is that carpeting?
Oh, it's,
I'm just-
I've been in what, 13, 14, 13 years, 14, about, and I know the carpeting was there. That's never been replaced.
All right, because I'm just a little concerned about what may be coming up in that dust.
Well, I mean, we vacuum, you know.
No, I understand that, but you can't, you
You know,
know,
we
a
vacuum.
vacuum does so much. It
You know,
doesn't-
but we've been very fortunate, I mean, you know, with a lot of help from,
We have a lot of people in the squad that are handy and do stuff, and they,
Right.
besides doing all the time that they ride, they're like, oh, this broke, we're coming up on the weekend, and, oh, my brother
Right.
does this, he's gonna come up and help me, we're
Right.
gonna do.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what we do to keep it going, we save
No,
money.
I understand that, I'm
you know.
just particularly concerned with this, you mentioned.
Well, the
dust
carpeting
coming
he's
up.
talking about is
Who
the one that
knows
we roll
what-
and hook up, the other one, you know.
Right,
it's-
I'm just concerned about what dust,
Yeah.
what could be in that dust
Oh,
coming
I'm
up.
sure
Would
they're,
that Matt have a problem though with
Yeah,
the
that's, well,
floors
well, I'm not
sealed?
getting down and seeing like, I'm not gonna roll that up and see
no,
what
that's for the
comes out
bay
of it.
floor.
but
That's different. That's the bay where the
That's the
ambulances
bay
are.
area.
That's
where
separate. The bay area
ambulance-
is where the
that's
ambulances
ambulances
are. What we're talking about is actually, it's like our large meeting room,
This is
but we put the chairs when we do training in there.
Right.
And we've now started to, we have family and friends, we have Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts come in, they learn, we teach them CPR, they get certified. You know, it's stuff, we have the nurses come in, sometimes from Trinitas will come over to us, and we run the
We just
training
trained the
series for
nurses
them.
from Trinitas, they
You know, we're-
certified them. You know, our building, the way it was designed, originally, the original design of the building was that you had 2 bays, and you had this small meeting room area, and then the extension was put on with the 3 bays back in 2000 or 2001. So it gave us a little bit more flexibility, because it stretched it out.
You know, it gives you more
But,
training there.
but, you know, we do a lot, that room is used a lot, not only for meetings, it's used for everything. And, you know, it takes its wear and tear for a while, you know?
Glenn, the radios,
Yes,
just fill me in on, because I know in the last year we've had the whole thing with the county and
Yeah.
the exchange of telecommunications.
Yes.
And how will that, is that related at all, will that be impact, a lot of those?
yeah, the
impacted?
radios, the reason for the radios is that,
Wait a minute, you guys, we got 3 things going here.
The reason for the radios is because we've had 6 new EMTs that came on, all right? In addition, I have 6 more that just came onto the squad that'll be taking their class and everything else. And we're running out of, the radios, these radios, these portable radios are set up so that we can communicate with the county, that's what it's made for.
Right, but
And
it'll obviously be in line with the whole new system that.
Yeah, well, not
that
really,
changed.
because down the road, eventually the county probably
Changing
will be
again.
changing again to a different frequency, so, which they already,
That's what I was gonna ask you, because I'm hearing in 2018, the FCC, those lovely ones, let me tell you,
well, Elizabeth is.
they got the right family in the right place.
Yeah.
But, a
They're
lot
gonna
of
be
a
doing
lot,
a
what we've been
whole-
trying to do, yes, we know about it. Right now, a lot of the towns are still utilizing the frequency, the UHF, this county frequency band that we're all on. There's about, from Clark to Scotch Plains, Fanwood, we're all in the same frequency now when we talk, right? Down the road, eventually, they'll be going and moving into 700. When, I don't know. There's no specific date, and that's why I didn't put it in, because I have no idea when this is all gonna happen. The county is telling me one thing, and then I hear from someone else. In the meantime, we're also working with the fire department,
Yes, I was gonna say.
and we are working with the fire department, spoke to the fire chief. We're gonna see about getting into a grant to see if we can get radios, because the chief is working on a regional basis.
Right.
And I said, can you incorporate the first aid? We do mutual aid to Elizabeth, they are on a 700 band now. The county ambulances operate on a different frequency as well. And I'm sure down the road, other towns that surround us will be switching down the
The more
road.
we can do.
So the more we can do to communicate, you know, there are towns, it's just very difficult, because all around us, everybody's on different, like Cranford uses a trunk system, and so does Union. Yeah, they use a trunk, it's called a trunk system, it's essentially like almost, you get like 24 channels, and it's a real big deal, you know, so it's very difficult sometimes to communicate. Our communication, when we go out for a mutual aid, I gotta go through the county, for the county to call the next town to tell them that I'm coming. That's how it works, and vice versa, it works the same way in reverse. So, you know, it's becoming more and more of an issue for us down the road, you know, for communication.
Couldn't you then put the radios off until the?
Well, these radios are right now for us, we need the radios for us, because
We
I
have
have
more
more
manpower.
people, I have more manpower now.
And they need the radio.
So I have 6 new EMTs, and plus I have another 6 that'll be starting in the summertime, they'll be taking EMT class again. So I need radios for that, I need to have them so that they can.
Buying obsolete radios that you're not gonna do.
No, right now at this time, we all have the radios. We all need radios. When we switched over, back in, I guess it was 2000 and, I forgot what it was, we had to allocate money. We had to allocate a certain amount of money to switch over, because we went from a different frequency altogether. We went to a UHF band. Yeah, we
This
were on
was not our doing.
the police frequency for call notes.
This was not our doing.
This was on
We
our
had no
doing, we had
choice.
no choice, and, you
No,
know, I
I'm
had
not
to communicate,
saying
you know?
buying radios is a bad thing, I'm just saying, you buy radios now, and then in 2 years you say, hey.
Well, I don't know if it's 2 years.
Yeah, but
That's
the-
it. I just don't
6,500,
know.
we gotta do it all over
The
again.
problem is, you need them now. You have people on, they can't answer a call if they don't have a radio knowing that they're getting called
Right.
out. They can't.
Right.
We get to a call, we had a situation today where, thank God for the radios, because we were told it was a dangerous situation that we went into today. And and thank God we had, like, if less PD's there, do not go in.
Right.
And, you know, if we didn't have the radios, it could have been a different situation.
But we need to be able to do that. I mean, we're monitoring frequencies on a continuous basis. I mean, in our building with police and county, we're monitoring the world, you know,
And because
so-
everything's so different, I still keep our old radios where I'm in
Yeah.
touch with the town, because sometimes, from the time the call goes into PD, I can hear it coming, I'm like, look, we're gonna get a call from county. But it could be a few minutes, 5 minutes sometimes, before county
But we
calls us
also-
saying PD calling,
We
so we're like,
also,
let's go, let's get
We
moving.
also realized that there was a situation going back when we had Hurricane Irene, and the county cannot handle the amount of volume that comes into their call
Yes.
center. And this has happened not only with Irene, but also with Sandy. So we have to keep our old police radios that we have, because we are able to communicate with, if for any reason the county cannot dispatch us, we're manning the building, we can communicate directly with, and we have done it on several occasions, at least 3 that I know of, that where we've actually jumped on the call because there was some kind of communication or switching issue that happened.
The county couldn't get through this, but we
Right.
heard it going through on Roselle Park
with
PD.
the PD.
And
And
we're
so
like,
we
all
can-
right,
we
we're
can
here,
jump-
if
we
you
can
need
jump
us,
the
we're gonna
call.
roll.
Yeah,
And we
I know.
rolled,
Well,
and we got there.
Yeah.
we have to be prepared for the worst case scenario.
We have to be able to
emergency,
handle ourselves.
I think
We
that
have to
that's-
be able to
yeah.
take care of
And we
ourselves.
do
And
man the
we-
building, when it's a serious thing for Sandy, we had people there 24/7
Yeah.
for almost 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We had people taking off from work, people just to be there, and we were going 3 weeks, I didn't go home for almost a week and a half.
We also have to remember, I know it's 14 years since 2001, but we are very close to the port, we are very close to New York City, we
Yeah.
don't know we have to just be prepared.
Yeah, no, we're part of this now county network. So what happens is that they will call for our ambulance to go out for, if it's
And they
something
call
of a
for our
mass.
fire rehab.
Yeah, for fire rehab or whatever they need, they're gonna call us, and this is what's been going on. So the request, the demand is getting higher now, because as more emergencies and things of larger proportion come in, we have to be able to respond, Now, as for the flooring, I think it's actually epoxy flooring. That's the, where the bay area, where the ambulance are parked. The floor hasn't been touched in at least 15 years. Okay, so it's chipping away, wearing out. We clean it, we wash it, but it's just down to nothing. And it looks horrible when you look at it. It's just little patches and chips, and aside from, the trucks are diesel, so they may drip a little diesel every once in a while, which diesels do, okay? And even though you have mats or whatever you have there, there's still things that wear out, and the floor needs to be redone. It needs to be redone. As far as 2017, that request is to replace our second ambulance, which is a 2001. Right now, it has 47,000 miles. The truck is 15 years old. You figure another 2 more years, it'd be 17. You can add probably another 10,000 more miles onto the truck. So it's getting to that point where it's going to have to be replaced. The ambulances are there's just so much you can do with them. After a while, everything just wears out on it. 2018, I put in for a carport or a metal steel carport. We have a 1999 truck that stays outside. Okay, it's the truck is a step van that we originally got donated to us. Okay, and it's a truck that can handle anything from a mass casualty situation because it has tents, chairs, it has a large oxygen tank set up to handle up to like 15 people at once. It can be used as a communication. If it has to be mobile, the truck can be set up for that as well. It also has decon kits on it as well. So, and mass casualty tags and things like that. So the truck has a major function, especially when we go out for fires in town. The truck is used for fire rehab, and that's what the truck is used for. And we've gone out for several occasions, other occasions as well. But the truck stays outside, and eventually
The weather's gonna be outside.
eventually the truck, like anything else, the weather tends to wear it down. It's a 1999. It is gasoline, so that helps a little bit, especially in the winter time. But things go on the truck as well. It's got its own 5,000 watt generator that we're trying to get that fixed on it again. It went out, and so we've got to keep up maintenance on the truck. And it is used, so it's not something that, the reason I put that request in was because of the fact that I feel that if we got some kind of metal carport or something that can support it, at least to protect it from the weather, we could stretch out the truck as long as possible. It's a 1999, I mean, like I said, the truck, we can stretch it out if it's covered and away from the weather and everything. I think it would be much better to go that way. I did put in for a inflatable rehab shelter, which is something that a lot of rehab and fire rehab departments have been purchasing. And what it is it's basically an inflatable tent. It's a large, just opens up. And right now we have manual tents. We have 3. So it takes time, and especially in this kind of weather, it takes, trying to set these things up where this would actually use a motor blow up, so something that we felt would be very important, especially if you have to do any kind of rehab shelter, say if it happens to be one of the apartments or something that happens, because we do have, for a small town, we have an enormous amount of apartment complexes, and more are coming in, and so we have to be prepared in that event, that we have to set up a shelter, something for, that's what we're gonna use it for.
I don't know if you're aware, not everybody may know what rehab talking, when the firemen go into a building, they have a timer on their pack. Once that goes off, they have to come out. They're not allowed to go back to work the fire until they come through us. And we check them out, we check out their blood pressure, we check out their heart, we check out everything. They get rehydrated, we're pouring water down on them, we're patting them down, because you have issues where people can go back in, they wind up with a heart attack or something like that. Those rehab units are necessary. You have a big fire, we've been called out over the years, county found out we had a rehab unit, and they were calling us constantly. It got to be a little bit hard because we have people, we work during the day, a lot of people.
Sure.
But they were getting calls out and that rehab unit was going. So this rehab shelter would help because it's not, you talking especially with the apartment buildings, not only you're taking fire departments, and when you go to a fire, it's not like you say, okay, we have Roselle Park here. No, you have a fire, you're calling in fire departments from other towns as well. So you're increasing the amount of manpower that not only are they going in, they're gonna come out, and they have to come through us before they're allowed to go back in. All right? Now, if you have apartment people, you have people coming out. Well, how many of these people, who has children with asthma, who has this, who has that? At least we have a shelter to bring them in, we can check them out. And we also call in other ambulances if we don't have enough, but I mean, you still need a place. If it's rain, a lot of times you get a fire, it's raining out, it's cold out, you need something to put them in. You can't just stick them in a box and, that's what this is all
It's
for.
been very, sometimes some of the fires, depending on where they are, or other towns as well, you actually seen it, it's,
Like the ones
she's
in
absolutely right, because
children.
we were one of the, Roselle Park was one of the first towns, along with Elizabeth, to really work to set up a fire rehab. We were, in the beginning, we were getting called all over the place, and now other towns have kind of picked up on it a little bit better, but, we still have to be able to provide for ourselves, and that's the real key, and that's been my goal, is to try to make sure that we're self-sufficient. I'm not really worried about so much the mutual aid going out. I'm worried about Roselle Park and what I need in the town to support if I have to do a rehab shelter or a fire rehab shelter, and for ambulances and everything else.
Carl?
I like to just note that when I was fire commissioner for the 2 years, that every time our department goes to Linden to do what they call a live burn, that unit follows them, even during practice drills. So it is a,
How large is this thing?
it is a unit that even during practice training sessions, these guys are there with their crew and making sure our guys are safe even during practice. So I can imagine what would be, with these major fires, which, thank God, we don't have as much as some of our surrounding towns.
Yes, it's true.
My son is a fireman in the union, he had 2 major house fires just last week.
Mhm.
So, and you know me, my number one priority has always been safety, so I think it's well worth it.
Is this something that we could look into, possibly getting a grant for some or part of it? It just sounds to me like it's the kind of thing somebody ought to be getting grants for, I don't know. But maybe we can look into that and
That would be
cover
great.
That'd be
at least
great, it'd be
part
a good
of it.
idea if we could do that.
That'd be
That would
great.
be good if we could do something like that.
Poke
rehab
around
shelter,
online
how
and
large
see
is it?
what we can,
The
Possibly.
inflatable shelter, you mean? It's, I think I quoted it was a
23 by
23 by 15.
Like,
Yeah, it's not pretty much. Maybe a little bit. Yeah.
It's almost like, trying to think of
The bouncy house.
Maybe one of those.
Actually, you get one of those.
Maybe use one, somebody looking at it.
Okay. I thought we were thinking of the same thing.
No, I'm sorry, Equal Minds, I caught that on the other night when I was watching the movie, Equal Minds, I guess we're not equal,
Yeah.
well, just great minds,
Yeah,
whatever.
when they go to CBT, they have them in Midtown.
We have a lot of, you gotta remember, you made a very good point about how close we are. And also our rail line, which is also not only a passenger, but also a freight line. Have you ever noticed some of the containers coming through, especially at night?
This has been
That's been a major- that's been a
concern
big
that
issue.
a number of residents have mentioned to me lately
Yes.
that they seem to feel there are more of them coming
That
through.
they are.
Yeah, we'll never
No,
stop
no,
them.
no, I agree
We'll
with
never
you.
stop them, but
I
we have
agree
to
with
be
you.
aware of them.
And the federal government, they're not giving you any information
Yeah.
on what goes in those cars, what goes out of those cars, they don't do nothing. And there's days, like I says, I work for a petroleum facility in Carteret, And there's days that they've got 60, 70 cars, and
Yeah,
that's
they're
just
going.
minimal.
Well,
Because I'm right across from it, I'm on East Colfax, and it's right across, you see it,
So-
and we're living there so long that you get used to it, you raise the volume on the TV, you lower the volume on the TV.
Yeah.
But it's
But people have been telling me there
large.
seem to be more.
There are.
Yes.
Yeah,
People
it's,
who have
you
lived
can
there for a
actually
while,
tell
that
when
they're
you're
more.
watching it, if you see like 3 locomotives moving along, you know that they're hauling pretty good.
Right,
But here's the thing, I mean, if you watch the news, you'll know what happens in some towns where they've had these tanker, you know, they're
Oh,
hauling these
yes.
tankers, and there's been some very serious
very serious.
incidences that have happened. You know, again, we have to always prepare for the worst, not that
Yes.
we're looking for it, but we have to be ready
Yes.
for it. And,
As best as you can.
as best as we can, right?
Yes,
I
of
mean,
course.
of course, there'll be other resources that would help as well, but we have to be able to help to ourselves.
You want a new ambulance as well, right?
Yeah, well, that's comes down the road in 2019. That's to replace the 2005, which is 10 years old now. By then, it'll be about 14, maybe 15 years old. That's time to replace it then.
What was the one we purchased last year?
That one is a.
What was the
was-
lifespan?
Still didn't purchase it yet.
That was a
Or-
that's a 1997. That's 18.
I think they just finished the specs, so.
Okay, well, no, I'm just trying to gauge what type of longevity we're getting at.
That one, that truck, the one that we're replacing now, is 18 years old.
Okay.
And by the time the new ambulance, when we get the new ambulance, that'll be 19 years old already, so.
We'll be here for the birthday, right?
Maybe
Huh?
Christmas if we're lucky, I don't
Will
know.
that ambulance fit
Hold
in
on.
the old car park?
Well, it takes about, you're talking anywhere between 8 to 9 months. That's how long it takes to build these trucks, you know, so, I mean, you're not the only town, we're not the only town, but that's how long it takes. And unfortunately, you know, once you spec out and the bids go out and, you know, it takes time, it just takes time. I don't even know, Ken, do you know where we are with that, or do you have any idea?
I heard the specs were sent to the attorney,
Oh, okay.
and that was just as of last Thursday. I
As of
think.
last Thursday,
I know he just got him in over the fax, so.
Yeah, he said everything was fine.
This was last year, so can't blame him.
Specs. What specs can I?
Good.
Just whatever we're looking for. in the
Just see me tomorrow or the next time you're in to, I was talking to the finance chairwoman before, I wasn't trying to be rude with the conversation. We're concerned about the air compressor and the hose reel that I guess goes along with that. Come see me and we'll get something done through buildings and grounds, right away for that.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And the mats, if you can get a more accurate price and see, we can,
Maybe we can
Oh,
do
that's
that.
we might be able to do
I think we,
this year, I don't, you know.
I don't think we took that off the it could have been out of Home Depot, I'm not even sure, I'm not sure.
Yeah, 'cause maybe we can do those this year too.
So,
Can I even
because
make-
they
can I
can't go
even
in
make-
capital anyway, so.
Can I also think about thinking outside the box? Is it possible that, since you're the liaison to the board, so sometimes the Board of Education, and I know years ago, when I was on recreation, I bought the mats, and they gave to the other, and they cut them up for smaller pieces, in case John Ramirez got
Yeah.
an old mat laying around
Sure.
that the Board of Education wants to get rid of, they can ship it over to us.
That's something.
So I know I did that years ago, many years ago,
Could it
28
be
years
wrestling
ago.
mats?
That's a good idea.
I know that's.
That's fine.
I'm assuming the old wrestling mats is the reason why they get rid of the old wrestling mats,
Boyd Hillsides.
but.
Hillside gave up the wrestling, I bought Hillsides. And boy, we got 3 beautiful mats at third price.
Can we see if the street sweeper can, after 20 years, be turned into an ambulance? or-
Yeah, we'll try anything.
You know.
Yeah, well, I don't know what's gonna be going on with the schools, but that's another subject.
Yeah, and like was said earlier, I'm sure you heard with DPW, this is a plan. This doesn't mean it's final. So if this gets put into the plan, it's put into the plan. You know, you can maybe start working on your specs now, but there's no guarantee still it's gonna happen. But we're trying to plan for it, so.
The 2015, the radios are really our top priority. They really are. Because I do have more, I am getting more and more EMTs. We're very fortunate in the last year and a half that we were able to get
If you're
more
getting
people.
more,
I'm impressed you
You know?
guys are getting 12. Seems like a
Well,
lot to
6
get.
and then 6.
Another 6, so
They have to go through the.
they have to go through the other
application
6 will be going through.
process. And then it takes a little while for their experience to kick in, so, you know.
Right.
Sure. What's behind it? How come all of a sudden you get, I'm not
Yeah, no,
complaining, but I'm just
I think,
curious.
I
I'm gonna
think,
tell you what it is.
you know,
We get out there, we've been talking to the kids, we're actually putting together something, I have to call the Board of Ed tomorrow. We're gonna be doing a plan, hopefully, for the lower grades in April, because we want the kids to get used to seeing us. It's hard for a child when you, I mean, and this isn't really the thing, but for, as far as the kids, you go to someone's house, the kids, their father's on the floor with a heart attack or something, they say
Very
they're
scary.
terrified.
Sure.
That's why we used to do the teddy bear clinic. We get them out, they get used to seeing us, they're not so frightened. They're bringing their teddy bears in, we're performing, you know, an assessment on their teddy bear, helping Band-Aids and the kids get used to seeing you, and they're not so frightened when you're coming to help them. They're not so frightened, they're learning at younger ages to call 911, what to tell them. This is gonna be part of a program we're putting in, hopefully, with superintendent's, you know, approval in April. But, we've also been going into the high school the past couple of years, and they allow us to come in and set up a table in the lunchroom. And kids have come up and talked with us, and we've gone in for their different, health classes and stuff like that. They'd ask us to bring the ambulance to tell them about different things, and we've gotten kids through that. We've gotten some kids through the college, with Union County. We have a lot of our people are also working 3 different ambulance crews, which is why it's harder sometimes to get people out during the day. But we have people working for Elizabeth, working for county, and then volunteering with us. So they're talking to friends, and we have them in Union EMU, and they're like, oh, we work here, but I can give you a night here, I can give you a night there, so we're pulling them in. Then we have, like I said, we have the younger ones that are just coming up, and they're gonna go through their education, which is, you know, it's like a college semester to get certified. But then just because they're certified doesn't mean I just throw them on a rig and say, okay, have fun. You know? They come on, they ride as a third, until we
Right,
feel
right.
they're
Sure.
experienced enough to handle. And then there's some kids that, yeah, they're coming on, but they're a certain age. We don't allow, EMTs under 21 to go on certain calls. They're not going on a psych call, they're not going on, you know, really serious, you know, I don't wanna have them out there and I have some guys losing it, he's pulling a knife out.
Yeah, potential violence.
You know, I'm not gonna do that. We have certain guidelines with it. So we are getting them on, but it takes a little while for that experience to kick in. I don't wanna put somebody out there and throw them out and they're like, you know, we got called in on Mitchell Lake on the shooting they had in Roselle a couple of years ago. We had, you know, gunshot wounds. I'm not gonna send an 18-year-old out on that who doesn't have the experience, so.
but we've been,
But we
we've
are
been doing
getting them in.
the last 3-4 years now. We've been heavily pushing more and more, for more volunteers to join. And we've been fortunate, the last couple of years now, this last year and a half, 2 years, we've had it, like Lisa had said, we have gotten a push with more people joining.
Plus we get a lot of cadets in too, which are our high school
Which
kids.
helps us a lot. We went from,
Roselle Park,
I think
the
you went
magnet
4
school.
years, yeah, went to Magnum School, that are Roselle Park residents. We only take, the kids, we only take Roselle Park
Yeah, if
residents.
they're cadets, if they're under 18, they have to be
Right.
living in Roselle Park. But we have a lot of children, thank God, because we have phenomenal schools, hint, hint, we really do have great schools, that these kids are doing so well. They're doing great at the high school here, which is good, but we also have a lot of them that are going into magnet school and the different allied health school. I don't know if you're all aware of it, the schools over in Scotch Plains. And these kids are amazing. Our Roselle Park,
Yes.
you know, our grammar schools are getting them ready for these other schools. They're doing well here, but some of them want to go into a more specialized area, so they go to these other schools. We were allowed to go into these other schools, Allied Health, the Magnet School, all these different schools, they allowed us to go in and, you know, advise them about the Roselle Park First Aid Squad. And it's amazing how many cadets, it's funny because the kids come up that are on now, that are cadets from the different various schools, and first thing they do, they come up, they do the rig checks, which is our ambulance, they make sure everything's on the way it's supposed to be, we go through a training period, then they go in the back, and it's so quiet sometimes, you're like, what the heck's going on? You walk in, they're all on their laptops doing homework, doing reports, these are all the future leaders you got coming up, and they're on our first aid squad.
For these
We have
kids,
kids that are from our squad that right now is on a leave at John Hopkins, he's gonna be a medical doctor. We've had 3 RNs this
Right.
semester
Right.
that went and took the state test, got their certified RN, one's like the number 2 in the state. These are the people that we're bringing on,
I would
but
say
they're starting out younger.
the majority of the kids that come in are all college bound and all into some kind of real either medical, R&D. Once, I think the one girl we have on Friday nights is actually going into engineering. So, I mean, it's, these kids really, it's unbelievable.
We have a very good
We've
reputation
actually,
in
we've
EMS.
got 12 kids right now, and, you know, and that's good, because as the ones leave, we get new ones that come in, so that the total stays consistent, which is nice. And,
What's nice too is they've got a program working with Mountainside. We,
the Mountainside Rescue.
Glenn and Kim Ballant-Reagan, who works with our cadets, worked up a program with the Mountainside cadets, and they're doing mutual training. They're training at our department for a while. They go to Mountainside, because they get different calls sometimes, because they got Route 22 all up there. And it's amazing. So these kids are great, and then they're telling their friends at school, so we're
So
getting
then they
more
will,
kids.
everybody else joins, they
Yeah.
won't, they won't
But
want to join.
it's also a matter of getting them experience and training,
Sure,
so.
of course.
it takes a
But
little
it's a lot, you know, it's an ongoing thing, you know, especially, you know, when you gotta try to motivate the kids, you know, you wanna keep the kids interested, you gotta keep things moving, you know.
And that's why we need more equipment.
That's what we need more equipment, that's right.
And I'd like them to get some sleep once in a while, so I wanna get them trained.
Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
I'm sorry I didn't have another copy for you, I didn't know you were coming.
Kevin and I like to share.
I didn't know I was gonna be here anyway. Came in from Riverhead. Now,
We've got public portion next.
I'll say something short before the public portion. Have we tried in the past, and if we have, what has been the result? Say for instance, DPW, the Ford F-350 truck, it's a generic truck. I mean, obviously they're gonna equip it with, you know, plow, whatever. But you see the Board of Ed with the same kind of trucks. You know, have we ever successfully been able to, or explored, like, you know, getting 2 trucks at a time, and one for Board of Ed, one for the municipality? Just in the sense that the bid would presumably.
A lot
get some
more of the
type of
trucks
cost
have usually been through state contracts.
rate.
You know, like even the police stuff, we get through, the Cranford Co-op actually gets a better price than everybody. We try and look at all the different options available, you know, depending on the specific needs. I don't know if the Board of Ed's looking to get one.
A lot of times, the difference
Find
between
out.
ours and theirs, they don't go through the rugged pace that ours does.
Right.
Our guys are picking up everyday trees, branches,
Yeah.
stumps, you know, gravel, where, not that I'm saying, but they're basically light maintenance, leaves, dirt, you know, some gravel here and there, but they're not going through the pace that ours does.
Yeah, or if by chance, you know, say this year they also need a new truck and they're getting,
You mean, to try to go in,
like the pickup truck, not.
in other words, to try to.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have Mark talk, you know,
Yeah.
talk to them if, you know, to see, and maybe we can. But like when you do it already through the co-ops or state contracts, that's the price.
Right.
You know, based on.
Whether you buy 1 or you buy 10,
10.
it's still the same price.
Right.
But if we actually have to prepare actual bid specs to go out, then yes, we can, you know, the more, hopefully the better price you get, so.
Yeah, we can reach out to them.
But usually we try the other
I
avenue
always
because
thought that
we're better off
ambulances were all
because
the
of.
same. They all had,
You got different kinds.
no, I mean, you know, ambulances, I always thought they all had the oxygen,
No.
they all had,
Not all
some
different.
things are just standard, and you just don't, and
But
that's
certainly,
changed.
each one, they're all different. There's different types, but yeah, they're all different though. And the manufacturing is all different too. So you gotta,
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Like I said, come and see me when.
I'll come by tomorrow morning. I get sleep tonight. Good night, everybody.
good night.
Have a good night, thank you.
My joints going back in the 70s, they used to go out and solicit their own money and put their own in.
Well, we ready for public portion? All right, we're ready to open the public portion. If I can make a motion to open the public portion?
Second.
Aye.
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 Anyone who would like to speak, please come forward. Please do.
Absolutely.
Jacob Higuera, 612 Sheridan Avenue, Roselle Park. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have my plugs in.
Okay.
Make sure you have them in tomorrow.
Yes, Mr.
Thank you, sir.
Oh,
That's,
all right, go ahead.
But you can turn it on. DPW, 12.5% in spending plus bonding,
12.5% what?
on page 1C.
Page 1C, there is no page 1C.
C1.
What?
You're going back to the regular budget.
The who?
You're talking about the operating budget, we're talking about capital.
Capital.
Okay.
No, I didn't know what you were looking at, so that's what I'm trying to ask
You
you.
tell me what I'm looking at.
I will come over there and look at it. You're going back to a first draft. We did a second draft and then the introduced copy.
And there's another, so it won't be 12.49.
Well, it's still gonna be a bigger increase, because remember, we switched, we moved money out of other expenses into salaries and wages, because we brought on a full-time superintendent of public works. It's
But
not-
that's operating. Tonight, we're on capital.
There was mention about privatizing. With the bottoms, the floorboards, weld them to the bottom.
Yeah.
As,
To get us another year out of the vehicle.
I mentioned. Years ago, they used to undercoat the automobiles.
They don't do them. They haven't done them in the last 20 years.
What?
Tar.
Who?
It's a coating. The EPA knocked it out over 20 years ago. It's a tar-based.
Sidewalks. After Sandy, this, my tree, had problems with it, and public service came over and said, we're either going to, trim the tree down, and if not, we'll have to take it down, because by the high tension wires. Well, 7 of my sidewalks were split. And I was assured by DPW that they would be replaced. That was last year. Still haven't been replaced. And you know I'm a very quiet person. I don't get upset.
How many trees were in front of your house that came down?
One,
That big oak.
an 80-year-old tree hit the front house.
Right there. That was there.
Yeah. I remember.
You planted it?
No, but you get-
He created the area.
Just about.
Because normally, with a tree, it's like a 2 to 3 slab rule, so.
Well, depending on what it is, I mean, his whole ball came up, so it was massive.
So your name's already on the list down at DPW?
I don't know. It was supposed to
We
be-
will find out.
Did
Jake,
you-
I'll call tomorrow.
But I've been, as I said, I'm a quiet person.
You'll have an answer tomorrow night's council meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I noticed DPW demo and new building, $2,600,000. We've discussed that at the council meetings
over the years.
last year, et cetera, et cetera.
We will be discussing that shortly.
Okay. How much money do we, are we bonding now? What was it for 2014, and what's it coming into 2015?
Well, 2015, we're just working on now.
Or
2014, if I remember off the top of my head, 1.3 million.
in debt,
Overall total debt?
overall debt.
Yeah, keep going while I'm looking it up. I don't wanna waste your time.
Mayor and council are not taking a pay increase again this year?
It's already, that's
No,
not in
that's already
capital.
decided. That's not capital.
It's not,
That's
we're
already
talking
decided.
capital budget, stick with the capital.
But he said for me to keep.
Well, we're not, that was
No.
already done, no.
No, we are not,
I just want to make sure, and
no,
the
we,
people's, I know this is gonna be taped or whatever.
Yeah, no, mayor and council are not taking any, they're not taking the 2% increase, and we are not going back and taking the,
They haven't
back to the
had a pay
normal.
raise in 4 years. Go ahead.
Total outstanding debt issued, principal, 15,562,000. Interest is 3,914,637.75.
Slowly.
Principal, 15,562,000.
Yes.
Interest,
Yes.
$3,914,637.75.
Can I just round that off?
Well, depends on how you're gonna round, because sometimes you like to say that that's gonna be 5 million.
You're talking like 18 million.
Ken's our CFO, he doesn't round up.
Ken's a round down guy.
So principal plus interest is 19,476,637.75. And that doesn't include the 1.3 million, which has been authorized but not issued. In other words, we didn't do permanent financing.
I would like to comment, this 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10, 15, and 25, that was the fire department, 20 some odd years ago, started that. But I appreciate the council, tonight, doing a
5-year plan?
plan, a 5-year plan. The interest of $4 million is tearing us to pieces. Tearing us to pieces, just like reval. It's gotta come down.
It is.
Stop buying merchandise and look into the pockets of the general public, senior citizens. They're having a rough time. And if you ever stop and look how many homes are for sale in Roselle Park. A lot of them are privately being sold, some are realtors being sold, and people are running. It's not like it was in 1989, in the 80s. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, if anyone else would like to speak, please come
Yeah.
forward. Okay, seeing no one, I'd like to move that we close the public portion.
I make the motion.
Second. I make the motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. All those, oh,
All those in favor?
aye. Okay, public portion is now closed. Nothing to close?
I have nothing.
All right.
I have one matter.
One matter?
I have one matter.
But before we do that, I would just, I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but I'd like to just mention one thing, which I'll talk about more tomorrow night at the council meeting, but just so everyone is aware of it, the Board of Education introduced its preliminary budget last night. If it goes through as introduced, it will add to, and the average home with an assessment of 65,000, which is what we usually use, it will add $299.62? 72. $299.72. So I just want to make everyone aware of that, and I also want to encourage everybody to attend the budget workshops, and which they will be holding, and the formal introduction of the budget as these things come up, because mayor and council have no control over that budget. So please remember to go, because that's, it's a big increase.
When's the next budget report?
I believe it's April 28th, but I'll go through all that tomorrow night. Because it's,
One thing I
It's
just
not
saw
under our
too, that's,
control.
that they used all their cap banking too, so
yes.
that means their next year's budget is going to be probably a problem. So,
I guess I'll call Ken.
No, just remember one thing. if they vote the budget down in November, it comes back to us.
Yeah.
Then we have to make the
Well,
decision.
if they're under the 2%, they don't even have to vote.
Oh, that's right.
The public doesn't vote on their budget, remember,
And
they
I believe that they are,
They changed.
Okay, that's
they
right,
did
I
their
forgot,
election.
I apologize.
The only way the public will vote on their budget now is if they go for a referendum, which I don't know their information, just
I don't believe that they, I believe that
possibly
they are
next year,
under,
they may have to with the
because
cap problems that
the biggest
that I
thing
heard, but
amongst
I didn't
their,
speak to
yeah,
them directly, this is just what I've read.
amongst their
from an article.
increases this year, amongst the heaviest increases are healthcare, which of course is outside the cap. You know, so I don't think that they're going to have to face it this year, in any event.
Well, yeah, no, they would have had already filed if they needed
Right,
it for
right,
this
okay,
year,
so we know they're not this
They
year,
should have been okay.
but people should be aware that this is, what we are facing. Yeah.
Next meeting?
Next meeting, hopefully, we're trying to see, are you guys available? Because I know next week, we tried to schedule one, but we can't, so,
We can't do the fire department, right?
I'm sorry?
We can't do the fire department next week.
No, we can't, we're not even having a meeting next week, there's something's going on each night or something, so. We're looking for Tuesday, March the 31st at 6:30.
That's not
Hopefully,
really great. How about Monday
okay.
night?
I can't do Monday night, we had mayor's dinner on Monday
Oh,
night.
that's right, we have the mayor's dinner. We can't do next Monday? No one can do next Monday? No problem, the
I
23rd?
think it isn't that, they're saying.
23rd.
23rd,
That's next Monday.
Yeah, could we do the 23rd?
23rd?
I can't, well, I got the Boy Scouts coming in at 7, through the police department and through mayor's office and
How
through
about,
councils.
how about Friday night? Are
I mean, I can start the meeting and then leave, but I'm just, I mean,
there's
this
no
was
point in that.
already
How about,
promised to the Boy Scouts.
all right, how about Wednesday, April 1st?
So I gotta read it in school.
All right.
That's good, we can tell them they're getting Zoom, April Fools.
How about March 27th? Friday night?
Friday night.
I
I,
don't know.
I'm actually not opposed to it, because we are usually out by like 7:38, but my sister's getting married that day, so.
Oh, that's a little awkward. All right, that's an awkward one, all right.
Sure
Not
she
to
wants
me,
do it?
not to me.
Tell her congratulations. I
all
can't
right.
say anything, the camera's on.
I can do the 31st.
I can't, that's Michael Peterson's show. I can't not show up for that. I put it together.
Library meeting.
Uh,
Otherwise, we're probably going to, and
April 3rd?
that's Good Friday, it's a
Oh, all right,
holiday, and
okay.
I'm leaving for
Okay.
vacation.
Closed.
Oh, all right.
I'm
Well,
leaving for
you know,
vacation, so.
I don't have to be here either, I can, or if we, I'm sorry, no, we can't, nobody can do the 26th? That's bad for people?
26th, I can't.
You can't do it, okay, sorry. 25th, you're having your meet and greet.
Well, unless you wanna have it at Costas, we can do the budget meeting and a meet and greet.
I don't think so. All
You
right.
know, free food
I'm
and
in.
discuss money.
All right, so we said, all right, the 30th was no good?
30th is no good because we have the mayor's dinner in Elizabeth, 6 o'clock.
Right. I better put that on there.
All right, so let's look at April.
Let's do it right now.
I'm gone the 3rd, I'll be back on the 13th. So, we got a council meeting that week, so that'll be kinda tough getting back, so, the 21st, 22nd, or 23rd?
21st is no good. I'm good the
April.
22nd, the 23rd, then, but then the 24th I leave on vacation.
I can't do the 22nd. And I can't do the 20th. I can do the 21st.
No, you can't. Well, I guess we could, but,
Yeah, well, there's just certain things that have to be done,
right, true enough.
so.
Ken's face.
Well, I don't even think Saturday works, because we have
Why don't you
the revale
put it this
meeting on
way?
the 28th.
On the 31st, is there any way that you can come and start, then leave? Tell him like you'll be there like 7:15?
Yeah.
We can start that, and then I'll take over, and then we'll fill you in.
As long as we have at least 4 members. Is
that
31st
right?
good with you?
What day is
Tuesday?
that?
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah. Tuesday the what?
Tuesday the 31st. 6:30. Well, we can, if we can squeeze 15 minutes ahead, we can get it, you know, but you're still in traffic, right?
I could leave early, I mean,
So how about like 6:15 then?
yeah, I can make
Alright.
6 work.
This way it gives
Six,
you a
can
couple.
you make six work? That would be wonderful, thank you.
Good.
All right, perfect.
Oh, the man of the hour.
March 31st?
And it's gonna be capital again?
Yes.
March 31st.
I know the police will definitely be there. Do you wanna try and do fire also that night?
Yeah.
Might as well, knock it out.
The
This
two
point
bigger
might as
ones,
well.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
alright.
No, that's.
So I'll check with them, and then,
No.
the only thing we'll need after that would be,
I'll go there after the
I don't
meeting.
wanna press our luck and do police, fire, OEM, and library, so we'll have to get the library. We'll
Yeah.
have to get the library, and then, we'll do the roads together.
Library.
There we go. Hey, way to go.
I will reach out for, I know the.
Well,
You got a card?
Well, let's see if this is headed, I mean, because it's getting complicated with you being away. Are we saying the 23rd is doable for people?
23rd of what?
April.
Oh, yeah.
I
We're
mean,
going
we
that
might as
far?
well, Ken's gonna be away.
He'll be away, right? 23rd?
Well, I think,
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna be
think,
away.
I think that'll be a good one anyway, cause hopefully everything's melted now, and if we do get another storm, this way Mark and Tom.
So we're gonna
can
put a
figure out
capital
the
budget
street.
for April 23rd?
Does that work for everybody?
So I'm advertising two then.
Well, we'll find it out.
Okay,
I'm good.
I'm good.
April 23rd is good?
I'm good.
Okay.
4:23.
So you good?
What time is that one?
Can we shoot for 6 o'clock then, again, is that right?
6 is cutting it.
Cutting it, no, 6:30?
I'm just saying,
All right.
6:15.
6:50.
Whatever.
If we get 4 people, then we just fill, that's all.
Make it 6:30.
Okay.
6:30 seems.
What day is that?
April
It's a Thursday.
23rd, it's a
Thursday.
Thursday. Um,
That's
check
gonna be the
with-
library, Ken.
Well, we're gonna have the library if they wanna come in, I know they put in a plan, so we'll talk, you talk to your wife, see if she's available, and I'll talk to Susan tomorrow, send her.
I'll talk to her, you don't have to talk to
Wait,
her.
no, I'm trying to
I
think.
have talk to
I'm
her.
trying to think. We are going away in April too.
Okay,
Well, I'll talk to her, we'll find out, that's all.
all right.
Maybe either that or we'll bring the library in and we'll bring in the fire department, whatever, we'll work it out.
Well, we're gonna shoot for
Because
the
then the
31st.
24th I leave on
I'll
vacation.
check with the fire chief
Although,
to
I
see if
mean,
they're
I don't,
available.
I'm not a,
I'll check with the fire chief if they're available.
That's
for
at
the
6.
31st.
31st and the 23rd.
23rd is 6:30,
I put that down in here.
okay? And don't advertise which departments in case we.
No, I'm just
flip-flop
putting
on
capital items,
capital
like I did last time.
Perfect.
I'm not putting any people.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
does that work?
Okay.
Okay, worst case, when we get closer to the 23rd, if there's a problem, we'll figure it out, okay?
I think that's good anyway. I think that's a good date.
Alright,
for-
I
I
got,
think that'll work,
I think we're going on the 25th. I'm not sure.
okay.
You going or you taking her with you?
I don't wanna, but she's the one who planned it. So, but
You said you had something for
All right,
close?
closed session,
Yeah.
yeah, all right.
Charlene?
bye.
Doesn't have to be closed, does it?
I don't
I don't
know,
know, you said you had closed session?
Pick the other name. Doesn't
I
have to be
don't know.
I don't know if it's,
I thought you said we can advertise.
Have a good night, all.
Okay, good night.
I mean, you can go into close, you got it.
How do I shut it
The
off?
average.
it's out, it's.
Alright, so we gotta go into close then.
Yeah.
I don't know, give me a minute.